Hey there folks, Glenn with the almost world famous Cactus Atlas, about to take a casual stroll through the Hassayampa River Preserve near Wickenburg, Arizona. So I decided today for the episode, our fifth, and being Friday today, a whole week of vlogging, that we'd come to this historic property that I assume would have a lot of shade because we're in a riparian habitat, and just kind of casually walk around and enjoy nature. I didn't realize they had this museum here to start. Very cool. But I'm here to go outside and get some fresh air. Wow. So yeah, basically I wanted to check this place out for years because I drive by through here in Wickenburg all the time. When I go up to Las Vegas or Nevada and regions and beyond, usually to get to the route I need to take, you got to drive right past the Hassayampa River Preserve. And so my first time in all the years I lived in Arizona coming here, and there's a lot of history actually in this area, and I don't know if we're gonna actually see any evidence of the past, but things we can actually talk about. But essentially all I want to really do is we're gonna walk around in this nice shady habitat and kind of reflect a little bit maybe on how things are going, how the week went, and we'll obviously explore this place too and then just enjoy the nature that we're gonna find here. And I can already hear birds aplenty, and this place is really well known for birds. I think they've discovered I think they've documented like 300 different types of birds that will hang out here at various times of the year, something like that, a large number. Now there's not a lot of walking here, I guess relatively speaking. I think there's just a couple miles total, and I know the river's down this way, so the Hassayampa River, and the shade is exquisite. And that's really one reason why I wanted to come here. One of the reasons is I wanted to do some walking, and I wanted to find a location that had plenty of shade. And I knew this being along a river, knowing you could see the trees from the road, boy was I not incorrect in saying that. I mean, it's a very nice shaded forest that we're in. You wouldn't even think you're in Arizona. You could pretend you were somewhere else if you wanted to. Although I'm sure we'll come across cacti at some point, but and you smell the woods, which I love. Any of you guys that live in Arizona now, maybe you're from the East Coast or the Midwest or just anywhere else where there's woods, you know the wood smell? Smell of leaves, just that general smell of being in the woods. It's just something you don't get often living in the desert. So when you're in a region like this and you get those smells, it's just really something that triggers something in the spirit, and it's absolutely fantastic. So even though we don't have smell-o-vision yet, I'm happy to report, yeah, you do get that woodsy smell. I just plan on wandering around aimlessly back here. I've studied a trail on All Trails. They have a printed map, and I'm not too worried about maps today. I'm just gonna see where the wind takes us. And there's a nice gentle breeze today too. I'm gonna guess probably in the mid 80s or something out there, but in the shade, it's just so much cooler. And I think I might even hear running water. I don't know if the Hassayampa has a perpetual flow or not. So I think that Like's Lookout is one thing I wanted to do. There's probably have to go out in the sun for a bit, but there's kind of a steep climb up a hill that overlooks a railroad. And if we were lucky, a train might pass, but I'm not so sure. But let's try to find the river first. Is this the Hassayampa right here? Or is it beyond? We'll just keep going back until either we're sure or not, but there is flowing water down here like a trickle. But see that? So if you're just kind of joining up on this adventure, maybe you're new to the channel, or maybe you missed the other videos I released this week and you're confused about what I'm doing, this whole week I've been releasing a video a day. And my goal has really been for various reasons that I've already gone into detail about, to to try to make a daily video for a minimum of 2 weeks. So this is now, you're seeing this on Friday, so this will be my 5th video. So I've officially gotten through a week, so long as I get this edited and out the door tonight, which I will. So that's a good sign, doing pretty good. Feeling pretty good, I would say, in general. So I think we're gonna hit our goal. And I'm hoping next week, by the way, like we released an adventure yesterday, which I think is more kind of along the lines of what I like to do, like explorations on a much grander scale. So be sure to check that out if you missed it. Kind of a longer one. But I'm gonna try to do more of that kind of stuff next week and make it a little bit more adventure-y to kind of up the challenge factor for myself and to probably give you guys more of what you typically like. So we may be looking at the Hassayampa River. I bet you we are, and if we are, it's just crystal clear, beautiful water. And a very, easy, gentle flow. A lot of our desert rivers and stuff are not really so river-like unless we get a bad storm or something like that. We were exploring the Gila River yesterday, and it was pretty much, for the most part, just dry, bone dry, with no water a lot of the times. And when we did find water, they were just ditches like this. But if you live in Arizona, you also know that these things can become raging torrents after like a summer monsoon storm. And so I imagine this could probably become a dangerous spot to be standing in at the wrong time of the year. But we're gonna keep pushing. I think I see the railroad tracks, like a grade up that way. So and I think that lookout, I think it might be that hill up there. And that's gonna be my physical challenge for the day. And one reason why I chose to come here is to do something a little bit more challenging than I have been doing, but also to have shade and an easy time the rest of the time. But yeah, overall, I guess maybe I'm gonna use this as an opportunity to give maybe a weekly report here now that we've been through a week. Overall, I've been going pretty strong. If you don't know what I'm referring to or why I'm having a hard time, just watch our other videos and catch up. You'll quickly figure it out. But been suffering from a lot of fatigue, and what I've been finding is, like when I'm at home, ironically sitting on my butt, maybe doing some coding, I'm a software developer and I've been building an app on the side, I have more fatigue at home, and I was very fatigued this morning before I came here and had a hard time just getting it together to get here and do this today. But now that I'm here and walking around, my energy level shoots up. So I think there's definitely a lot of validity and truth to what they say, which is, exercise, you might think it'll make you more tired, but it actually gives you energy. And I'm finding that when I'm active and moving around, that's when I feel the best. Now, when I go home later, I'll probably start to get tired, but overall, feeling strong, feeling good. So I think part of my experiment is to test my stamina and to build stamina. And I think it was the exact right call to undertake this 2-week vlog challenge that I'm calling it. If you want to know the truth, the consistent biggest challenge that I'm having doing this is when I'm talking, being active. Part of what I'm recovering from, I have like a very dry mouth, basically. So when I'm walking around and talking, very quickly, very shortly into it, the dry mouth really picks up. And that's kind of, if that's the worst of it, that ain't bad, but that's probably my biggest challenge, I would say, thus far in doing anything. So manageable, but that's probably the thing. And right up there's that railroad grade. Modern railroads or trains do come through here, is my understanding. I've seen pictures, and we'll get a better look at that when we hike to the top of that hill. But essentially, we're kind of in the bottom, I think, kind of where the Hassayampa River runs through at this point. And this is just such a beautiful time. Hearing the wind in the trees, even, is a thing that you forget about when you live in the desert. Think about it. When you just have saguaro, cacti, and creosote, it doesn't make that beautiful noise that you have down here. And I'm starting to understand now why they have such a variety of birds that frequent here. And just you hear songbirds, and there's nobody here right now, kind of on a Thursday. Later in the day, this closes at 3:30. for their summer hours. So I have like 2 hours that I could spend here, but I pretty much have the whole place to myself. Maybe a brief history lesson. I was just reading a little bit in the visitor center where you come in to pay. Basically, the history of the area is the indigenous people. I'm assuming the Hohokam. I didn't really read too carefully. A culture that we love studying. What was that? For a second, I thought I heard a rattlesnake, but I don't think it was. Those people lived down here, and I believe they were growing corn and other crops along the river here because they had a water source. So that's I love that history first and foremost. And then Wickenburg is a very historic, very important town in the history of Arizona. If you've watched our videos on Vulture City, one could argue that Vulture City, Henry Wickenburg, and all the events he set forth led to the development of the large city of Phoenix, Arizona. So without this happening out here, it's possible Phoenix would have maybe never come to be. Who knows? But this was one of Henry Wickenburg's. He had his first dude ranch, I guess, was somewhere in here. I don't know. I don't think there are any structures or anything left. Didn't do any level of research for this episode because I just wanted to come here and chill and enjoy. But you have a lot of history there too. And somewhere on this property, I believe, are the graves of some folks that were brutally murdered and like their bodies burnt. And thought like there's a bad guy named Stanton. And I've never really done a story about him on the Cactus Atlas, but bad dude apparently. And apparently him or his hired thugs murdered some folks to steal the gold and stuff they were transporting as they were vacating the Wickenburg area to head to Phoenix at the time. And I believe those folks or their remains are buried somewhere on this property. So that's something I'm interested in, finding the grave or graves of those folks. So if we don't find it today, no worries, because I'm going to do an episode on that whole story one day in the future and tell the histories associated with that. But for now, gotta watch my head here. We'll just continue to walk around and enjoy. I know, these probably aren't the most exciting episodes to do stuff like this. And I really just wanted to combine an activity where I could get some exercise. I guess a little hike. Let's call it a hike. Let's call it what it actually is. And then get my quota of videos for the week. I thought it was a good combo to serve multiple purposes. And I'm just panning around this forest, and I mean, this feels nothing like Arizona in here at all. This is something totally different. And to get here, I mean, you're just driving through the desert, saguaro cacti and the usual sights, and then you just kind of pull in here and you're transported to this. I don't know, what is all that stuff growing in there? Is that watercress? It almost kind of reminds me of that. And just how clean that water appears. We'll just come here and get a couple shots and just be quiet, and I find that very relaxing. I don't know about you guys. I mean, for some of you that don't live in Arizona, that live in regions that have this, it's probably boring as all heck for you. But for me, like if I wasn't filming and had an agenda, I could probably stand here for 10-15 minutes and just zone out, peering into the clear waters there through the green leaves and that green moss in there, and just almost like being in a meditative state. So I think this trail is one of the little loop trails that are in here, and we're already kind of circling back around. So what I want to do, because I like choo-choo trains, I had a grandfather who, growing up, built a really large Lionel train set in the basement, this huge table he set up. I actually have that train set to this day. So I have a special affinity for that stuff. not a train expert, railroad expert, but I just love it. So I kind of want to go to that lookout, and we'll get the hard part over. And I see one of those red birds. Let's see if I can turn this around without scaring it. So I'm gonna kind of focus the camera where the bird is. It's staying put for the moment. Now it's flying away. But did you see it? It's too far away for me to tell if it's a cardinal or some other bird that I'm not familiar with. I don't think it's a cardinal. Do you guys see it? You have to be able to see it, I think. I don't think it wants to be near me. And then there's another bird of yellow color, almost like an oriole or something like that. I don't know if we have those here, but maybe it is a cardinal. I don't know. Stay still, bird. I want to get a better look at you. You're beautiful. It's just too small and too far away to know for sure. So we just did, I guess it's called the Lion Trail, I think Lyon, and it's just a loop. Very quick loop that goes through where we just walked. I pretty much filmed the whole thing. Oh, I'm sorry, lion like the animal, Lion, it appears. So we will go to the more challenging section here in a moment. Have to emerge into the sun for a bit. Probably be winded, and it'll probably be the most challenging thing I've done in a long time. I've been taking it really easy. But that's one reason why I chose this, like I think I said earlier, is that for the most part, I knew this would be easy, shady, like meaning in the shade, and with one hill to climb that wasn't terribly huge, not like a mountain, to just get one thing in and maybe get my breath going, because I haven't really done anything that's challenged me in that way, and I kind of want to up the ante just a smidge. I don't want to get too crazy too soon, but want to start testing a little bit better, pushing myself a bit. So yeah, so this seemed like the perfect place, and now that I'm here experiencing it, I can concur. So if you live in Phoenix or near Wickenburg or anything, like, and you've never been here, and it's a Sunday, you want a nice chill Sunday morning stroll through some woods, Hassayampa River Preserve. And if I didn't mention it, the fee really, it's $5. So there is a fee, but $5 is a bargain, I would say, for what you get so far. And like I said, in case you're not really a fan of like updatey type of vlogs, which some people aren't, some people like them, I think, on this one I'll tie in a little bit. I mentioned I'm doing pretty good, but it is kind of like a ping-ponging thing where I have some days, like the day I went camping, like the next day after that wiped me out. Then the day after that, I felt great, had a lot of energy. And then the day after that, I felt really wiped out and fatigued. And then that, I think, brings us to yesterday when I was doing that Gila Bend episode, drove a long way, was out most of the day, felt really strong, really good, got home, edited that hour-long video. So I filmed and edited in one day. So that I was able to get it done. It was a long day. But essentially felt great. And then, this morning woke up and was tired again. So it's almost like every other day is a day of fatigue. Maybe just because I'm kind of recovering from the good days and, pushing myself a bit. So my best guess anyway, but it's very much been like that for me. So like a very strong day followed by a tired day, and boom, 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 boom. And I would say though, like compared to the beginning of the week, I don't really feel magically measurably stronger or anything. Probably on some level, things are coming back, using a lot of different muscles, even wearing a backpack, putting a couple waters in it to get some weight and stuff like that. Like right now, that's really what's bothering me is my back. I don't have back problems, just the muscles feel like, what that feeling when your back is being put to work a little bit. I know I sound pitiful to some people. I'm not usually like this. If you don't know me, I'm not a whiner, I'm not like anything like that, and I push myself really hard. But when you go through what I went through, you definitely learn very quickly that your body has limits. And I think that's really the thing, is my brain doesn't always match my body, I guess. And my brain wants to go, which isn't a bad thing. But my body is like saying, slow it down a little bit, sir. I've been sitting here for maybe about 5 minutes or so, not filming, and just zoning out. And it's just so good. I just am in one of those moods and just, just content to sit here and think about nothing. Just so needed, I guess. So let your mind relax also. But I was thinking though, like towards the end of it, I'm feeling better. And I think another thing that I don't give enough credit to is just getting out in the sun a little bit. Now I'm taking it easy. I know some people, I've had a few people over time, I spend a lot of time in the sun and appreciate the concern about that. And in recent times, I'm getting older too. I'm really like not wanting to be out directly in the sun as much anymore than now that I'm getting older. I'm gonna protect my skin better, all that stuff. And it's just hard to do that. But I was thinking just how much being out in the light in the sun helps with things just alone. I guess just soaking up some rays a little bit, sensibly, safely, and how much that lifts the spirits, I think. And that's probably part of what's making me feel a little bit better mentally and physically, is maybe getting some of that vitamin D going or whatever the sun does. So like if you're going through a hard time with what I'm going through, I know when I was going through treatment, like doctors and nurses are always like advising you, I know it's hard, but exercise, 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 and you'll have a much better time with stuff. And early on in my treatment, I would walk and stuff, but I very quickly abandoned that and kind of just became attached to my couch. And then you let things go downhill, and then it's really hard to climb out of that. So if I had to give advice to anybody going through that, if you're physically capable of doing it, if I could go back and do anything different throughout that time, I think I would take that more to heart. And I might not even be as weak in such a weakened state now. Maybe I could have kept some muscle on just by walking and stuff like that. But I mean, I can't believe that I just went around this little circle and then I had to sit down for a bit. It's just so unlike me. if you knew me before this. So, but anyway, I think I've sat long enough. So let's go find that lookout trail and see if we can climb a hill, see how we do with that. So what I think we're looking for is the Likes, assume that's how it's pronounced, Like, the Like Lookout Trail, which is down this very nice shaded path. So shaded path I can dig, and then we'll have to emerge. I bet you the place we were looking up there and I was pointing out the saguaro, I think that might actually be our destination, is to climb to the top of that thing. So we'll find out. It almost feels at times that you're in a tunnel, when you're walking through all this like this canopy above me. It's awesome. Boy, did I call it right by coming out, a little bit early afternoon during the week. I truly have this whole forest to myself. I don't think there's a single person out here. There are people leaving when I got here. But the trade-off is it's the warmer part of the day, but I can tell you though, it's so shaded back here that it really kicks the temperature down significantly. And now that I'm in the sun, you actually can feel it as you're walking, from shade to sun, you'll feel the heat go up fast. Just even the air feels warmer, but such a perfect choice for what I had in mind. To even say it exceeds expectations for what I was looking for is underdoing it a little bit. I wasn't really considering all the sounds of the forest you get. It's the constant sound of the songbirds and birds flying all around up here. What do we have up here? Bench in the shade. Ooh, and I think we found the start of the ascent up to this Lakes lookout all of a sudden. But it's perfect to have a bench down here. I'm gonna need that. And boy, this is nice and cool up against these rocks. Absolutely awesome. So I'm gonna catch my breath really quick and we're gonna get this done. All right, I think I'm ready. Here we go. If I huff and puff more than usual, you know why. But yeah, I have not even done any like steps or anything like this in so long. Wow. Using those muscles is, you feel it immediately. Luckily, I don't think it's actually that high. But those are the famous last words, right? I've said that many times in my journeys, and then I'm in for a surprise. You can see how fast you come out of that forest too. And now you're seeing cacti everywhere. See? Told you, we're surrounded by desert out here. We're already above the trees, and there's the train tracks. So I think we're almost there already. If so, that ain't bad. Whew. But it's neat to be above the trees. I imagine in fall, if anybody knows, let me know. I bet this is a wonderland of color in fall. I have to keep that in mind. Whew. I barely walked up here and I'm huffing and puffing. Oh, I see, we're going up there, I think. So we got a little further to go. Saw some pictures or video, I don't remember now, of a train passing through. So this would be a great vantage point to watch trains. I don't know how one gets the schedule, but even pandering around, you can see all these foothills of just Sonoran Desert. But you could really see though this Hassayampa like valley or whatever you want to call it. It actually is pretty wide actually. There's a lot more depth to it than I would have thought. Pleased to report I'm not dying here. I got this, we're gonna make it. But probably honestly, if that's the top, I think I can handle more than this, like for the next one. But we'll take baby steps. I know there'll be a couple concerned voices out there to say, slow down a bit. But I just wanted to do some more to get wanted to breathe. Wanted to build up a little bit of a huff and puff in here. So I actually know I'm getting a workout. Is this the top? Or are we gonna get up to the top and then there'll be another push? We'll see. Big saguaro up here though. I love signs like this. Tells you the mountains. The Date Creek Mountains. I think Round Mountain is there with some residences on it, I assume. Then in the background, the Weaver Mountains, and then Antelope Peak. Where is that? Having a harder time matching that one up. But kind of that hump in the center of the screen is San Domingo Peak, and to the right of that are the Hieroglyphic Mountains. I know there's some off-roading trails back that way too. And you can actually see how far we've come. Where all those palm trees are over there is where the visitor center is, and that like a grove of those palms. So we've actually walked, I wouldn't be surprised if we'll have about a couple miles done, as I think I saw in All Trails by walking all of the trails here, which I think once we go back down, I may have missed something or two, but think there's not too much more to it than that. But I'm curious where the graves are that I inquired about. But if we miss those today, not too worried about it. It's part of a bigger story that I want to tell with multiple stops, which I think we're gonna do maybe here and probably within the next few months as I start to get back into things and my life turns back to normal. We'll go back to more storytelling and history. But first, gotta build that stamina back up, right? And then this right here, I guess I'm pointing exactly north, according to this thing here, see? North. Towards Las Vegas. Yeehaw. All right, technically there's a trail that keeps going, so I'm gonna keep going until we can't go anymore. So I don't know if that was the official lookout, and this is just bonus material now, or if we still gotta go. Be awesome to be in a train though. I always wonder what it would be like to be a modern engineer. I assume that's the position, right? If you're kind of piloting the train or in charge of it, is that still called an engineer? And how do you get a job doing that? Like, what education do you need? Or is it just one of those things you got to get into and you kind of work your way up? Might be my speed. Boy, that is almost straight down too. That is a drop. But right on top of those train tracks. All right, looking for a consensus here. You guys would agree that I've gone as far as I could go. Because if we keep going, we're going down there. So I think this is maybe a bonus section. But the best place you can see the train tracks from for sure. But where that bench is over there, I'm wondering if that's the official Likes lookout or not. But boy, that's making my neck tingle. That's a really steep drop. And then we'll look back down on the preserve. Gotta be careful, the camera's approaching overheated status. So now that I'm full back out in the sun, and I'm reaching overheated status, so I'm looking forward to getting back down into the shade of the forest. So let's do that. Here's the part where we get to go back in the shade and it's just so much cooler, like immediately. That is nice. I honestly could probably handle 3-4 times that, I think. Maybe even more. Might even be ready to climb a small mountain. But maybe the irony, I guess, is here. The thing that seems ironic is now that I've done that, you think I'd be wanting to sit down and be tired, but I actually have more energy now. I mean, it's a real thing. I feel 10 times, I feel almost normal at this very moment. And just a while ago, when I first got started, I had to sit for a bit. So it is absolutely true from my personal experience that pushing yourself, getting that blood flowing, really does give you energy. Like even immediate energy for me anyway. We'll see how I feel later tonight though. I think the plan now is I'm gonna head back towards the visitor center and maybe we'll tidy this one up. I mean, I don't want this to be an hour-long thing. It doesn't feel like it's gonna be a long one, but I say that every time. And then the video ends up being like 40 minutes or 50 minutes. But we'll see. I'm gonna force myself to contain a little bit here, even though my instinct is film more, just in case. We're gonna be good. We're almost there now. Actually, we are there, I think. Maybe explore over here in the palms really quick. I basically wanted to say, if you've been along on the journey this whole week and tuned into all 5 episodes, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Hopefully I'm entertaining you and you're getting something out of it. I know not every episode's for everybody, but it's very appreciated. And I hope today was as good for you as it was for me, if you're here with me now. All right, so this time I forced myself to exit the visitor center and get back out so we can tidy this up. On the way out, I asked the gentleman where these graves are. I think he said that's kind of on the way out. There's somewhere to, like a fenced off area back there. But I tell you what, for that, it's such a interesting history to talk about that it's worthy of its own episode. So something I'm gonna come back for in the future so I could properly tell the tales and the associated tales and talk about all the characters. And thank you again for joining me for this hopefully peaceful end to your week. It was for me. And I'll see you next week. We're gonna try to get through and do 5 more next week. So thanks again. Thanks for everybody's support, and I'll see you then. All right. I know we ended the video already. This is a bonus. We're gonna start doing bonuses to entice you to stay the whole way through the video. Wasn't really the plan, but the Martin family gravesite. This is what I was thinking of. So the parking lot's like right there, basically, but I'll give you the 5-second version here, because I need to read up on it myself. I think he said you can go in here. Man, that's not opening. I honestly can't get this to budge. I don't know if this is supposed to open or not, but this isn't gonna go any further back. Or is it supposed to go that way? Huh, what a mystery. Anyway, the Martin family gravesite, we'll look at it from here. We'll come back in the future to tell the whole story. Basically, my understanding, this is back in the 1800s, these people were victims and brutally murdered as they were traveling, kind of relocating from this area to Phoenix, and then their bodies were all burnt up, and I think they were buried here in a small box, a whole family, and put in this grave. I wanted to see the gravestone, and it ties into, like, you know, speculations of this really bad dude named Stanton who has a town named after him. You could visit there today. Even that guy Stanton, some say, may have been behind the Wickenburg massacre, another story we want to tell sometime. But anyway, because this is a little bonus feature, I guess it's okay that we can't really get in there, and I don't feel like climbing the fence. So we'll leave it there. See you next time.